And so riots against the Jews continued undisturbed. In 1904, in Algiers. In 1907, there was a pogrom in Casablanca. In 1912, in Fez. Many Jews were killed, many thousands rendered homeless. Connections between Arab nationalism and Muslim fanaticism were close. Sermons in the mosques frequently were inflammatory diatribes against the Jews. Syria became a center for Arab gangs. Fawzi al-Ka'ukji, a specialist in gun running and gang warfare, found fertile soil for his activities by harassing the Syrian Jewish community. The Blue Dawn Conference of September 1937 in Syria publicly asserted that the Holy Land question was the concern of all Islam. It was more than a coincidence that the only representative of the world press was that of DNB, the official news agency of Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany and fascist Italy provided material and ideas to the Arabs. It was the time of Hitler's rise to power, and his minister of propaganda, Goebbels, sent messengers to Iraq to launch an anti-Jewish campaign. Hitler's Mein Kampf was translated into Arabic and distributed all over the Arab world. The Nazis' final solution to the Jewish problem well suited Amin al-Husseini, Mufti of Jerusalem and president of the Supreme Muslim Council. At a rally in Berlin, he declared, "The Germans know how to get rid of the Jews. We should learn from them." After Munich, a frightened Britain under Neville Chamberlain restricted Jewish immigration to Israel in exchange for Arab support and Arab oil. Jews from Arab countries could no longer escape to Israel. The borders were sealed. In Iraq, the Arabs had no more need for subtleties. A pro-Nazi government was formed. Nazi swastikas were seen all over the streets, hinting that the time had come to eliminate the Jews. In June 1941, the Jewish quarter of Baghdad was the scene of a massacre. Hundreds of Jews were killed, thousands injured. The crime of Zionism was added to the criminal code in Iraq. The punishment was death. For Charles Horish, it was enough to be Jewish. All Jews were automatically considered Zionists.
He was arrested on my son's second birthday. I was expecting him to come home early for the birthday party we were going to give. He went to his office in the morning, and I never saw him again, dead or alive. For days, I looked for him. They told me that he had been taken away by the secret police. I went from one prison to another, asking about him. But all of them said that they didn't have him. And so it went on for 2.5 months. During all that time, I didn't know whether he was alive or dead, where he was, and what was happening to him.
And do you know why they took him?
I never knew until the trial. The trial was broadcast at midnight on the 26th of January, midnight between 26th and 27th of January. I hadn't heard the trial at the time. I didn't know there was going to be a trial. I just woke up on the morning of the 27th of January, and my mother came to me and told me that my husband had been hanged. Later on, they told me about the trial. It took a few minutes.
Mock trials and public hangings continued. The days of the executions were declared a public holiday, and turned into a festival. Thousands of people flooded into the capital of Iraq from the countryside. Students and civilians armed with guns took part in the manhunt for the fleeing Jews. The hunt was often accompanied by schemes of private blackmail, made possible by the helplessness of the victims. Jews in Iraq began to disappear without a trace. Yaakov Rejwan, merchant, age 66, married and father of 3, arrested in his house. Last address, Aliwah, near the Hamadiyya Market, Baghdad. Dr. Ezra Kazam, physician, age 60, kidnapped by 4 security men while leaving a friend's house. Last address, Al-Nahada, Al-Kifa Street, Baghdad. Shaul Shemesh, importer, age 50, married, father of 2. Last address, Bustan Kuba Street, Batawin, Baghdad. Azuri Shemesh, merchant, age 78, father of 8, kidnapped by security men while walking from his house to a nearby cafe. Last address, Arasat Bahushi, Baghdad. Vivian Abd el-Aziz escaped from Iraq to Israel with her mother after her father was imprisoned.
That's him. He looked older, yes, and he changed his glasses, you know. I really can't remember that. Yes. He wasn't tall, and he was little fat, and he had glasses, as we saw here, and he had gray hair.
The appeal of the Arab League for an anti-Zionist demonstration developed into riots in Yemen. Jewish houses were burned and looted. The Yemenite police not only failed to stop the rioters, but themselves took part in the looting. The Jews were expelled from their quarters. Many escaped to the desert where they were ambushed by thieves and robbers. By March 1949, 5,250 Jewish refugees arrived in Israel after 4 wretched years living in camps in Aden. The government of Yemen was more humane than the others. It finally expelled all its Jews. In 18 months, Israel flew in 45,000 Yemenite Jews. It was called Operation Magic Carpet. After 2,500 years, Jewish life in Yemen came to an end.